How's it going? Motor City Miner here, coming at you with my 1 month update on my DIMO versus Hivemapper versus MapMetrics ongoing comparison test for mining in your car. And yes, it has actually been over a month since this video, which is just crazy. It's been a crazy month. Lots of new subscribers. Really appreciate the support. So if you have not actually seen, if you're new to the channel and did not see the initial start off, I have been comparing the DIMO, the Hivemapper, and MapMetrics since about a little over a month now. Really like a month and a week, but I'm going to go over my 1 month results. So really excited to dive into this. But yeah, it's been a crazy month, lots of Ice River stuff. So thanks for joining the channel. I know this car mining isn't for everyone, so apologies, but again, I'm the Motor City Miner, so feel obligated to review car mining. So let's get into it and hop on over to my Excel spreadsheet. Alright, so here's my new spreadsheet. I mean, I guess it's the same spreadsheet, but I did add in some more information just that was requested in after my last video. So excited to add in that information. Now I am also tracking my mileage in my car. I think I'm going to add an odometer column as well. It's kind of hidden right now because I don't have that filled out. But you can infer that from the mileage. But that's just more for my own knowledge. So yeah, we are now tracking mileage. So I've retroactively added that in, which is really nice. The DIMO does kind of track your mileage, so I can easily pull it from that. I did also add in a column for DIMO earned, Hivemapper earned, and MapMetrics earned. So those are the actual yield of those tokens. Before I think the last update I just had my cost basis and then how much it was worth if I had HODLed. So we do now in fact have how much of the actual token I have. So let's get into it. As you can see, I had the prior 1 month check-in. This is 1 week, and now we're at the 1 month. My next check-in I'm planning is at 3 months, so that's 2 months from now, and then 6 month check-in and 1 year, and so on and so forth until the next bull run. Because I'm personally hodling all these, again, not financial advice, but I'm just doing this for comparison tests, but the cost basis columns are if you had cashed out every single time that you had received an award. Just a brief synopsis or reminder: DIMO is paid out once a week on Mondays. Hivemapper is paid out once a week on Wednesdays for the prior week, and MapMetrics is paid out daily. So, just keep that in mind if you are trying to cash out every time you get earnings, that it will vary from coin to coin on when that will be. So let's dive into it. So the trend from the first week comparison actually did continue. So I remember in my first week I was very surprised that Hivemapper narrowly edged out DIMO. As you can see, our cost basis at that time, it was about 75 cents more earned on Hivemapper, which was actually atypical for me at the time, because I have been using the Hivemapper and DIMO prior to starting this test. Specifically, I've had the Hivemapper since about beginning of February, and the DIMO, I think I had been running for about a month and a half by the time I started this test. But again, these numbers for this comparison are just from that date forward, which I believe was June 12th, but you can watch my prior video for the exact date. And yeah, I can really explain what. So I really thought DIMO was gonna always be the highest, but I completely forgot one of the most important things about DIMO, and that is, as more devices come on the network, the same amount of rewards are distributed across more devices. Therefore, each device earns less. So my rewards have actually consistently been dropping each week. So prior to that, I was actually making a lot more before I even started this movie series. Now that more people have DIMO devices, and it went live on Coinbase, more people are interested in the project, and therefore there's more competition. So if we go into my DIMO tab, you can clearly see every single week my rewards have consistently kept dropping. my yields, and they will just continue to dropping. I am currently in level 2 and have been in level 2 ever since I started this comparison test, which I think is a good place to start because honestly you're in level 1 for 3 or 4 weeks, so it's a very brief period where you're in that really low earning, and then you're kind of in level 2 for about half a year. So I think it's good to just negate, what those first couple weeks where you're in a lower earning bracket. So I'm in level 2, and as you can see, it is consistently dropping. In fact, I noticed that my level 1 earnings, which are not shown here because they are prior to this comparison test, back in, March, April, were actually more than what I'm getting in level 2 now. So again, I just completely forgot that when I started this comparison test that my rewards will consistently go down for DIMO. Whereas Hivemapper, on the other hand, is much more dependent on how much you're actually driving mileage-wise. It is not, your payouts are not as affected by more mappers coming onto the network. Your rewards are calculated largely based on how many miles you've covered and how recently those miles were mapped by someone else. So, as you can see, I've kind of been all over the place reward-wise. Some up weeks, some down weeks, which is pretty typical, again, because you're going to drive different amounts each week. So DIMO is rewarded, just for turning your car on, essentially. It doesn't matter how much you drive in a week. Hivemapper is definitely like, how far did you drive, and did you drive where other people are driving or not? So, if you're a truck driver, Hivemapper is going to be where it's at for you. I mean, you're probably going to be going to new places all the time. Much higher likelihood you're mapping things other people have not mapped as recently. Whereas like me, yeah, I drive largely the same route every day for my commute to work. Sure, I might have to stop at a different store or, due to an accident, take a different way home, but I'm largely driving the same. So, my mapping rewards are less because I'm consistently mapping the same exact route. But again, still pretty profitable. I mean, if you really think about this, I go through about a tank of gas a week, which costs about $60 some odd. I mean, I'm getting, a quarter to a third of that back, in any given week, just in Hivemapper rewards. And then, couple that with the DIMO rewards, honestly, I'm getting probably half a tank of gas worth of rewards a week, which is awesome right now between those two. Jumping into MapMetrics, again, I wasn't expecting much from this. It's kind of a different animal in and of itself, being a direct competitor to Google Maps. And, that kind of reflects in their cost. Like, I mean, unlike the other two where you could ROI in a couple months if you're a typical average driver, MapMetrics, right now we're looking at an ROI of never. If I go down to the bottom, I've gained a whole whopping $5.38 if I had cashed out every single time, which you would never do with this because, well, you get rewards every single day, and as you can see in here, those rewards are like usually 20 cents. Are you really going to cash out 12 cents a day? No. So you are going to let them build, and unfortunately, looking at the totals, MapMetrics is actually down. So doing the HODL method here, we are actually down in our earnings. So right now, MapMetrics is definitely, it's a long play if it's anything. I mean, it's ROI never currently. So it's, do you believe in the project? And, essentially you're just accumulating for future price appreciation. Again, not financial advice, but yeah, when it really comes down to these three, like, yeah, Hivemapper and DIMO, depending on your driving and what you do, either can make sense. It actually, honestly, makes sense to really have both at the same time. DIMO is minimal effort. You just have to drive once per week, essentially. Hivemapper is a little more effort because you do have to, make sure you're getting all the data downloaded from the camera. Sometimes that takes longer than, you might have to stay parked in your car, for a little bit to make sure all the images get downloaded to your phone, to the app, and then you have to upload all those ones. And, you can either do it over your telecom company or, Wi-Fi. but there's a little more time intensive involved. But really, to an average driver, I think, both are viable options right now. I'd say the only time where Hivemapper maybe wouldn't be is if like you really don't drive far at all, because it is based on mileage covered. So like, if you really live deep in a city, which I do, but I live in a city like Detroit with no public transit. But if you really only drive your car once a week and only put 10 miles on, it might not be worth the time and effort to do a Hivemapper. But DIMO, would still give you its full payout in that situation. But for the average driver, I think DIMO and Hivemapper together, it's a good way to double up and double your earnings effectively at the moment. And if you're a truck driver, Hivemapper is going to probably pay you real well. But who doesn't want $15 a week from DIMO as well? Again, MapMetrics, kind of in its own little world, I'll call it at this moment in time. It's really more of it is the cheapest of the three devices by a decent amount. Hivemapper and DIMO hover around about $300 right now, whereas MapMetrics is right around $200 for the device. But even at that lower price point, it's still an ROI of never. So really, you are hoping for that price appreciation in the token itself someday. Not going to get into the actual tokenomics here of these projects. You can look that up yourself. Again, this is more just for comparison test. I'm curious how these three will end up, both if you had, sold every time you earn something. So that's this cost basis column, and the HODL method. How, like, in the next bull run, what one of these retroactively was the most profitable to run. So again, we're at our 1 month here, so I'll have another one in about 2 months. So sometime in September, that'll be the 3-month check-in. If there's any more stats you want me to try and track, let me know. I'll add them to this. Just trying to give you guys as much information in my experience with these three as possible. So anything else you'd like to see, just make it known, and I will try and get it for you. And I appreciate, the request that, added some of this information that you're seeing here. So that's about all I got on my 1 month update here. Hope you guys, found this interesting and maybe helps you decide which one you want to pursue. Again, I really like DIMO and Hivemapper. I think for the majority of people, both are pretty viable options. Again, with one exception, if you do drive very few mileage, maybe Hivemapper's not quite worth the effort. But for an average driver, typical American commute, both are pretty viable right now. MapMetrics, again, that's long play. So, I will say the app needs some work. I mean, I did just to try and see how their navigation app works compared to Google Maps. Like, I did try it, and there are so many problems at the moment, and honestly, I couldn't even get to basic places in Metro Detroit with the app. I really love the aesthetics of the app and the aesthetics of the map. I like it better than Google Maps. I think it has a cool, like, kind of minimalistic European vibe to it. But yeah, like, it had no idea where any construction was. It honestly routed me on streets that were completely closed. So it has a lot that it needs to work on. Whereas, DIMO is not competing with anybody really, because it's, pulling data from your OBD2 port, and then essentially they turn around and sell that data, and you're getting rewarded for providing that data. And Hivemapper, is collecting imagery on a more frequent basis, whereas Google Earth, only gets to a neighborhood on average every 3 to 4 years. The idea of Hivemapper is you're consistently getting updated data because you're crowdsourcing it on a much more large scale, lots of user base. So again, that's kind of it for this month. Be back in 2 months with another update on this. Like, subscribe, let me know if there's anything else you want to see. And yeah, I'm going to just keep on driving and keep on reporting. Until next time.